Eddie Hearn, just moments before the press conference, but I'm going to start not about Usyk, Witherspoon, or Bivol. About 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, Joe Markowski, Vice President, DAZN, US part of it, said that we're not going to pay everyone a lot of money because a lot of people, this is Joe Markowski, I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I'm saying, a lot of people assuming DAZN is a place you can just ask unlimited numbers. We're going to get them because the guys have billions, there was billions of stuff, dollars and everything. I'm going to just shut up and listen. How DAZN operations are going to change because of that or not?
I think, initially we had obviously sort of cost of entry, if you like, into the US market, where you had to overpay fighters because you were coming in from a fresh start with no existing platform. So it wasn't like we were ESPN or Fox or Showtime or HBO, where you could almost attract that fighter because of the platform. So people were saying, well, I'm being told this is a risky move, so you've got to pay me for that. Now people are finding, of course, the subscriptions going up, the credibility going up, the fighter stable increasing at a rate of knots. I believe the best schedule in boxing. So you don't have to necessarily overpay to attract fighters anymore. Matchroom Boxing USA has a good reputation. DAZN has a good reputation. You still have to overpay fighters, but not to the levels that they had to do initially to get certain fights or create certain moments at specific times.
Because Joe mentioned, the top players of the game, top fighters, they're going to get the top money because this is what we do. But if you are, let's say, second or third tier, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to on DAZN event, let's pay me 200,000.
You have to move the needle. This is the key. DAZN is a subscription business, and they want return for their investment. So if you move the needle, if you're a star, if you put bums on seats, you're in a good place. If you don't, then you better be in a real fights. And they will pay great money for real fights, but I think the days of giving you a run out for incredible money, those people, whenever you start a new project, World Boxing Super Series the same.
True.
It's like, right, go in, you've got to spend a load of money. The ones that benefit the most are the people that get in early. It's like a big stock on a stock market, right? After a while, once you sort of cement your position, that overpaying stops because obviously DAZN have to look at their spend, look at fighters, who's driving subscription, who's driving numbers, and then we'll sit down and say, right, he's great, right? He's driving numbers. He's not, and you're paying him a lot of money. And that's the same in all businesses, but particularly in the subscription business.
Did you have a conversation with fighter without naming the names like, okay, we paid you X amount of dollars, let's say 300,000, we can pay you 100 now?
Not really. I think it's not really a case of, we can't pay you that money anymore. It's just, we have to give you the fights to deliver the numbers and subscribers.
Got it.
They're not afraid to spend more money on those fighters to put them in better fights. Is that a case? Yeah. So,
I understand, absolutely.
So my example on that might be, you were getting 300, now I'm going to give you $1 million to take this fight.
But fight the top 10, not top 50.
Yes, top 5.
Or top 5.
You've got to, the guys that aren't moving the needle.
Quality pace.
From a subscription perspective, you have to be in the defining fights. You have to be in unification fights. You have to be in fights with bad blood, or hype, because we need to drive subscriptions. You need to drive subscriptions, but we also mustn't forget we have to deliver a schedule for subscribers. So I think DAZN's attitude moving forward will be, want those big nights that are going to spike subscribers, but we must also produce a consistent schedule that gives existing subscribers value for money, and meaning that they'll stay as well. So it's getting the mix right.
This is interesting because I didn't want to ask this question, but I will, because you said we paying top dollars for top fights. It will be a really stretch of imagination to think the Usyk versus Witherspoon on 4 days basis or 3 days. I'm sure you didn't sleep for a couple of nights, or maybe you get used to it already. We know on the one side is already a legend. Whatever he does, if he stops fighting today, Usyk is a legend. Chazz Witherspoon, not so much.
Yeah, of course, and even Tyrone Spong, not
True.
so much. We've got a lot of criticism. This event is about the heavyweight debut of Alexander Usyk. in the heavyweight game with these heavy guys, and now actually fights a guy probably 30 or 40 pound heavier than Tyrone Spong, everything's dangerous, you know. But you know, when you look at it, you have to think to yourself, this event really is about that coming out, if you like, of Alexander Usyk to the heavyweight division. We're a bit unlucky.
He is a showman. He showed it yesterday during the open training.
People want to tune in to watch Alexander Usyk fight. Witherspoon, we expect to be dangerous, but probably outclassed. But again, you know, we were unlucky with Spong. But even Spong, you know, we were getting criticism from people, and it's not really about that. It's about that moment when he steps up, and a guy who was 200 pounds is now fighting a guy who's 260 pounds and can punch a lot harder than the people that he's been fighting. So it's to see how he adapts to the style, and of course the crowd is incredible on Saturday, and we're really excited.
Would you like to comment about Joey Dawejko saying that they promised me the fight, I signed the fight, why I am not fighting? Why is he not fighting?
Because I feel like if we're going to move into a heavyweight debut, we need to fight a big man. And I don't think that listen, I think maybe Joey Dawejko might have done better in the fight than Chazz Witherspoon. But the style is not good. You know, he's 5'11". You know, it doesn't. You can't be selling saying Usyk's moving to the heavyweight division, and he's fighting this guy who's much smaller than him. You know, looks smaller than him. You know, the truth about Joey Dawejko is our matchmaker went out and signed 3 fighters who were in the mix for the fight, and we chose Chazz Witherspoon. And they were all told, the managers were told, just because you sign this agreement doesn't mean you got the fight, but you're in the mix and we'll decide, because we had no time.
It makes all the difference what you just said. I mean, it's like getting visa and getting to the United States. You have visa, but the guy can say, no, not really.
Sometimes you get, you know, one guy that we had who was an opponent, we wanted to move forward to, and realised that he had an existing ban in another country for a doping offence. So it's not easy in that situation. You know, we got this news at 10 p.m. on Monday night. You know, you got to move quick. Yeah. And the truth is, if we weren't efficient at what we do, there may have been no show.
For the 3rd time in a row for Usyk, it must be for you. It should be May, Maryland, or
June.
Yeah, May, June. May. Then was the Takam story. Yeah. He's in, he's out.
We're in, and he's got to stay focused. He's the mandatory challenger for the winner of Joshua Ruiz. He can't afford to slip up, you know. One punch from his, you know, Witherspoon can punch. If he exchanges and hits him like Ruiz done, anything can happen. So just stay focused and get the win. Especially
first couple of rounds, because we all remember, we all know it. Usyk learns fighter when he fights them.
Yeah. But Witherspoon's best chance is in the early stages of the fight. Once Usyk figures him out, he's gonna be in for a rough night. But if I'm Chazz Witherspoon, I go in and I go, right, I'm going to put the pressure on him and swing 3 or 4 rounds, give it everything, because that's his best chance in the fight.
There is a mixed opinion about Usyk. Some of the writers, some of the people in the business are saying, with this kind of movement, defense, unpredictability, you never know what he does. He has a chance. The other guys are saying he doesn't have a defining punch.
Yeah.
He has to punch you a bunch of times. Tony Bell was an example. Yeah. Beginning was for Tony Bell. A couple of first rounds, he was doing well.
Usyk's not going to be the biggest puncher at heavyweight, of course. He's 15.
Your opinion?
He's 200 pounds going up. He's going to be 220. But he punches hard enough, and he punches often enough. You know, and I think you're going to see him sit down on his shots more and throw more power shots in the heavyweight division. But again, this is why I wanted a big heavyweight who can punch. Because when Usyk throws, that's when you've got to trade with him. But it's very dangerous. But he won't. You know, if Usyk was a devastating puncher, you know, the likes of Chazz Witherspoon, and if he had that speed, no one would be able to touch him.
True.
He would be impossible to beat. Impossible, because he was impossible to beat at cruiserweight. So if he had the power, but that's the intriguing thing. Does he have the power and the size to compete with the big boys?
The intrigue is here, and I spoke with him, spoke with a lot of people around him, and saying, this is what he wanted from the day one. Yesterday or a couple of days ago, he said, I want a Deontay Wilder. But you mentioned, he is a mandatory for Joshua versus Ruiz.
He's going to fight for the world title in next spring, and it's either going to be against the winner of Joshua Ruiz or for a vacant belt. So we'll have to see. But first things first, he must win on Saturday.
Assuming he wins on Saturday, we all assume that he's a big favorite in Vegas.
Yeah.
would you like him to fight again before he fights the winner?
Probably not, because the training camps, he's really, although he was injured for that fight, he's had a long time training, and I believe he would want to spend time with his family, probably come out to the Saudi Arabia fight, watch that fight at ringside, and then really after that he'll be starting camp again, for the fight. So we'll see. The option is there for him if he wants to fight, but once that mandatory is called, I don't think he'll be fighting again.
I also heard just now from one of the Matchroom crews that you guys have to move your production seats because there will be additional number of tickets because demand to see is amazing.
I felt that.
I'm happy you're happy because you're going to come to Chicago more often.
When we did the last show, remember a year ago, I really felt that everybody left there thinking that was a great show. I enjoyed that, and I thought to myself, when we do another show in Chicago, they'll all come back. But this time with Usyk, now we had the Ukrainian community as well. We're going to have, I think we'll have 9,000 in there, which will be incredible. Like
fantastic
when we
number.
came to Chicago a year ago, they went, Chicago's a waste of time. It never sells in Chicago. It's hit and miss.
Tough
one
city.
Time it goes well, one time it doesn't go well. But going there once a year, you hope they're all going to come out, and they're all come out and more. So we've moved some production seats to get extra seats in.